What's up everyone, welcome back. Patrick here, and in this next video what we have to do is take this point -4 and 3. We're told it's a point on the function f of x, the parent function. We don't know what f of x is, but we know that that point is on it. And then we have to find the corresponding point on this function here. So notice it's a transform function of that parent function f of x. So y equals -f of 1/4x plus 8 minus 7. So just in general, first thing we have to do is get this to be in the general transformation format, which, as we've discussed in previous videos, is this over here. And then once we have it in this format, we can take the a, k, d, and c and then transform the points. Then the way we would do that, we would take the x value, we would divide it by k, and then add the d value. And then the y value we would multiply by a and then add the c value. Right? So really we just have to, the biggest step is getting this in this format. And notice it's almost in this format, except over here inside the bracket. Notice that the x has to be by itself. Right? So we have to factor out the k value. So we would take out the 1/4. And what would we be left with? Well, what's 8 divided by 1/4? Well, that's like 8/1 divided by 1/4, which is like 8/1 times 4/1, which is 32. So this would be plus 32 over here. And then we have a minus 7. And you could check it. If we take 1/4 distributed in the bracket, we'd have 1/4x. 1/4 times 32 is 8, right? So this step here is critical because it changes that d value. Well, over here there wasn't even a d value, but a common mistake is that students might think the d value is -8 when it's really -32. So the a value is -1, the k value is 1/4, the d value is -32. Remember, it's always the opposite sign. Then the c value is -7. So to transform the point, again, we're going to be using this. So we would take the -4. So the new x value would be -4 divided by the k value, 1/4, plus the d value. So it'd be -32. Now, what's -4 divided by 1/4? That's like -4 times 4/1. Which would give us -16, right? So it'd be -16 minus 32, which would give us -48. And then the y value, the new y value, would be the a value of -1 times the y value that we're working with, which is 3, and then the c value minus 7, which would give us -10, like that. -1 times 3 is -3, minus 7 is -10. And so the final answer, the final corresponding point, would be -48 and -10. Right? So just be careful with these k values over here, factoring them out. And then especially if it's a fraction, it's not a big deal. You could just follow that algebra that I did before, and you can always check your answer by redistributing back in, seeing if you get that original bracket. But just make sure that x is by itself before getting the transformation values and then before getting your final point.